Hello there, welcome back to Profneel. It's a pleasure having you here Friday afternoon. He's Neil, sir, my eldest son. Well, in Mario Puzo's Godfather, it is advocated that every man, every person in this world should have a godfather because this world is too wicked for one, the natural father, to help his son live in this world. So, like Johnny Fontaine had Don Vito Corleone as his godfather, we all should have a godfather. But I have a different view on this. I, on the other hand, pray for more godmothers. Mrs. Jagdish Khurana, that beautiful lady, my student's mother, who was my godmother, who remarked, "He's Neil, sir, my eldest son. Manoj is my second son." Though she doesn't, she's my second godmother in my life, part of my life. My first godmother in life happened in Delhi again. Her name, Dr. Kalyani Ishwaran, a Tamilian house owner in Patel Nagar, West Patel Nagar. When I joined ihmpusa as a teacher, I rented a room in her house. And every morning it was a ritual, a ceremony. I would stop by the window, her kitchen window where she was cooking, and she would summon me inside. It was a ritual, a ceremony. I mean, I had to go in, and it was a huge mug of milk was thrust into my hand, and I knew it had a very good measure of filter coffee decoction. And as I was sipping it, she would reach out to the altar where her deities, whom she prayed to in the kitchen and cooking, and she'd reach out to the vibhuti, the sacred ash, and smear a vertical line on smear it vertically on my forehead. Vertically because to denote that we are Shaivites, the Ayers, unlike the Iyengars who smear it horizontally. They aspire to go higher than an Iyer, you see. Lateral thinking, we've been far at it centuries ago. De Bono came much later, must have learned from us. This sacred ash on my forehead, I was unaware, had a very profound effect on my students. 9 o'clock in the morning, the first class that I had with them, my class of 92, were joined with me just after I joined 1989 to complete the 3 years and pass out in 1992. And this was quoted by Rohit Singh Rawat 25 years after they had passed out during the Silver Jubilee reunion alumni. And they were such beautiful folks that I could even today write a profile of each of them. They're such special. Each of them as individual as they were. I could write an individual profile of each of them, uniquely individual as they are. So that's what Rohit Singh Rawat said. He says, "आप Madrasi Pandit ho, puja pat karte ho." So I said, no, I don't know any puja. He said, no, this. I said, oh my God, he remembers this 25 years later. So that was the effect that it had then on people. They were all wonderful people, but with one of them, I struck a one super rapport. His name was Manoj Khurana. At that time, thought of him as a Punjabi, but later on I learned that he was a Jhangi. He came from a particular district named Jhang in Punjab, erstwhile Punjab of India, which is now in Pakistan. His parents were refugees. They had come over from Pakistan after partition. Hard-working, typical Punjabi family. The father started off with one truck. Now they owned then they owned a fleet of trucks. Mother, the typical Punjabi lady, whose only focus was the children, the husband, and the house, the home, and the food, the kitchen. And Manoj and I struck a good rapport because whatever be the circumstances, you would expect him to come back with a stomach-splitting repartee, delivered with that typical Steve McQueen smile that he had on his face always. Once he was delayed after lunch service, inordinately delayed after lunch service. That was in my classroom. So I asked him to get a note from the chef, concerned chef, Mr. D.D. Sharma, why he was late. He outwitted me by getting a note from the HOD, Mr. Talwar, who was a very elderly teacher who used to teach my principal of my college. And he indulged these boys because of almost their grandfather's age. Now, I could not challenge Mr. Talwar, he knew. And Mr. D.D. Sharma would not have given him that note because he must be whiling away his time somewhere else. But that's how he used to out it. We used to like it. That boy used to think on his feet. And once there happened a chalk fight in my absence in the room, in the classroom, and I lost my temper, and I just lost my temper and asked all of them to clean the classroom. Immediately he put up his hand up and said, "Sir, it is my responsibility. I will clean the classroom." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I started the chalk fight." My respect for him grew more because he accepted responsibility, leadership, and he did that. Cricket fructified the relationship even more. I think cricket did the best thing in our lives. He was my invaluable nugget, the nippy fast bowler whom I could ask to get through the ball to and say, "Get me that wicket" when things were getting out of turn. And he was also a wonderful all-rounder. He could bat at any position and bat as per the circumstances. You could use his bat as need be at that time. But he would bend his back for that extra ounce of pace and for getting that perfect in cutter or the leg cutter, which was his specialty to get the wicket. What is special about that? Anybody can do it, but special for him because we very few of us knew about that. He had a terrible backache, and despite that, he would do that in the hot sun. But the only thing that at that time his smile may not have been visible, but the stress was not visible. Also, he kept a straightforward face. All these interactions on and off the field led that to be he being my go-to man for anything related to Delhi. I mean, for one simple example being that once I overheard two a lady teacher and a gentleman teacher talking Punjabi, and I mean they're conversing in Hindi Punjabi, this particular word came, hor kept happening, and I was over tea break and I was like shocked. So I called him. I said, "Manoj, excuse me, come to meet me in my office." I said, "Manoj, I said, what do you Punjabi say? You use such words in your language?" He says, "Sir, calm down. It's not what you think. It's not the English version. In Punjabi, when you say hor, it means or, and. Hindi or, and. So very many misconceptions he dispelled for me. He made me feel at home. And then came the invitation to meet his parents. And I always liked doing that because it gave me a direct line of communication with the parents. And then I could tip them about the children. I could keep them informed about the child's progress and about the achievements if need be also, both positive and negative. And then came the invite to stay a night with him. I declined that. I said, "Manoj, whatever be the relationship, and though I'm impartial, I would not give you extra marks or I would not give you the thing for this, but no, not during your student years. The day you write your last exam, I'll come over with pleasure. Then I can be informal, I can be myself." So on the last day of his test, third year final exam, I had to go to his place as promised, and I did go and joining me were two of his classmates, Samir Kasal and Kamaljeet Dhaya the Jat. We had a couple of drinks, we had cigarettes, and then we played cards. And it was late night. We laughed a lot, and typically boys. And then next morning, as we went up to the first floor for tea, I sat there. A gentleman came in, and the other three all greeted him well, and he recognized he called them by name, and he looked at me very inquisitively. And when Manu's mother came with the tea, he like asked, with non-verbally asked her about my identity. And without battling, without taking a breath, she said that he's Neil, sir. He's my eldest son. Manoj is my second son. I was startled. I was really, really surprised and startled. Maybe it was that the image of my being a Madrasi Pandit teacher on that vertical mark, Vibhuti mark, and all that I'd done in college, or these three boys would have kept talking about them. And I knew that Manoj had been talking about me for a long time at home. That's why he wanted me to meet his parents. And that so immediately I put my tea down. I went into the kitchen where she was making breakfast for us, and I told her, "Mataji," I said, "you call Manoj by his first name. You call Honey your second son by his first name. Then why don't you address me by my name?" A look of horror came on her face. She held my wrists for a moment and said, "नहीं नहीं नहीं, ये नहीं हो सकता. आप sir हो." आप मेरे बेटे हो, मेरे पहले बेटे हो, पर आप सर हो. It was as if it was blasphemous word to say kneel, but that was such a beautiful moment. I mean, that was one of the finest, how would you put it, blessings or an achievement in my life, and a very humbling moment for me. That I never expected that. Of course, it was a matter of deep regret. I could not be with her when she was suffering from cancer and she passed away somewhere in 2005 or something, 2003. So I was down with my stroke and I could not go. But she was one of the most beautiful, she was the most beautiful godmother I had in my life, and I pray that I'm born to her next year, next janma, that so that she could baptize me and she would address me by my name, and that in my and in my blood vessels would flow her milk of goodness, and for that I long. It shall be a life worth living. Embrace the mother to be blessed for all janmas. Thank you very much.